Why have scholars concluded the disciples did not steal Jesus' body? And why have they abandoned the theory that Jesus didn't die on the cross, that he just fainted or swooned? And further, why have they given up on the idea that Jesus later revived in the tomb, somehow pushed aside the huge stone, and then appeared to his disciples, convincing them that he had risen from the dead? Well, scholars dismiss these theories because they were completely demolished by the liberal critic David Strauss over 100 years ago.
But in his major work in 1835 in the life of Jesus, he said the swoon theory is not going to work, and the problem is this: it is self-contradictory. What you have from the swoon is a living Jesus, but not a resurrected Jesus. And here's how it works. Jesus should have died on the cross. He didn't. He should have died in the tomb. He didn't. He certainly can't roll the stone away. No problem. He did. Now, Strauss didn't believe in a guard, but for those who believe a guard sitting out there, he works his way through the guards. But here's the problem for Strauss. Again, you got didn't die on the cross, didn't die in the tomb, couldn't roll the stone. He comes to where the disciples are. He knocks on the door. What's this man going to look like? He's a human Jesus. He's been crucified. He's worked the wounds open again. He's bleeding from the scalp. His hair's not even been washed. I mean, you got sweat and blood, and he's worked the side open again, and he's hunched over, and he's limping, and he's pale. And I told you I would rise again from the dead. The problem, Strauss said, with the swoon theory is you get a Jesus who's alive, but you don't get a Jesus who's raised. Now, Strauss does not believe in the resurrection, but he knows the disciples did, and the swoon doesn't get you from A to B. You get this kind of Jesus. Lord, come on in. Get a chair. Get a pail of water. Call the doctor. To paraphrase Strauss, the disciples would have gotten a doctor before they proclaimed him risen, because here's Peter over in the corner saying, oh boy, someday I'm going to have a resurrection body just like his. And that, by the way, is the proclamation that's most tied to the resurrection of Jesus, that believers will be raised. Now again, Strauss doesn't think believers are going to be raised, and he doesn't think there's a guard, and he doesn't think that Jesus was raised. But if you can't get that belief on the disciples' part, it doesn't work. And the problem is, swoon can't account for the experiences that the disciples had that they thought were appearances of the risen Jesus.